The 2025 Monterey auction. A car rolls onto the stage. It's 77 years old. The factory that built it operated for just 90 days. Only 51 of these were ever made. The hammer drops at $3,710,000. The buyer is the Petersen Automotive Museum. The car is a 1948 Tucker 48, known as the car of the future. This is the story of the most ahead-of-its-time American car ever built, the visionary entrepreneur behind it, and how a tiny independent operation from Chicago became one of the most collectible legends in automotive history. To understand why this car matters, we go back to 1945. World War II just ended. America is booming. Soldiers come home. Families want cars. But here's the catch. The big Detroit automakers are still selling pre-war designs with small updates. Nothing truly new. Enter Preston Tucker. Preston Tucker was a Michigan-born promoter with a wild imagination and a love for speed. Before the war, he worked with race car legend Harry Miller at the Indianapolis 500. During the war, he designed a rotating gun turret used on American aircraft. But Tucker had a bigger dream. He wanted to build the most advanced passenger car America had ever seen. In 1946, he founded the Tucker Corporation. He leased the largest factory in the world, a former B-29 Superfortress engine plant in Chicago, with over 475 acres of floor space. And he announced his vision to the public. A car so advanced, he called it the Tucker Torpedo, later renamed the Tucker 48. What made this car special wasn't just the styling, though the Art Deco curves, the riveted aluminum hints, and the fastback silhouette are still gorgeous today. What made it revolutionary was what was inside. The Tucker 48 introduced ideas that wouldn't become standard on American cars for 40 years. A third center headlight that turned with the steering wheel for better visibility on curves at night. The famous Cyclops Eye. A padded dashboard when every other car had a steel one. A pop-out windshield designed to release on impact for occupant safety. A roll bar built into the roof structure. Independent four-wheel suspension. Disc brakes. A rear-mounted, air-cooled six-cylinder engine producing 166 horsepower, when most American sedans had front engines and far less power. The Tucker 48 could do 0 to 60 in around 10 seconds. In 1948. While the average family sedan needed nearly 20. The press called it the car of tomorrow. Magazine covers featured it. Over 150,000 Americans put deposits down for one, sight unseen. Tucker even pioneered a bold new way to fund his company, pre-selling dealerships and accessories before a single car rolled off the line. He raised over $17 million, equivalent to roughly $230 million in today's money, entirely from public investors who believed in his vision. The factory was running. The prototypes were being tested at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The world was watching. Then 1948 happened. Between June 1948 and March 1949, Tucker's Chicago factory assembled 51 cars. Each one was largely hand-built by craftsmen, and each one was a rolling showcase of innovation. But running an independent car company in post-war America was extraordinarily difficult. Steel was rationed. The Big Three controlled most of the supplier network. And as Tucker's profile grew, so did scrutiny from regulators. The Securities and Exchange Commission opened an investigation into Tucker's unconventional fundraising methods. The trial that followed in 1949 captured national headlines. Here's what most people don't know. Preston Tucker was found not guilty on every single charge. In January 1950, the jury cleared him completely. His defense attorney even pointed out in court that competitor Kaiser Frazier had received nearly $200 million in government loans without facing the same scrutiny. But by the time the verdict came in, the factory had already gone quiet. The dream was paused. Only 51 Tucker 48s ever left that Chicago factory. And here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. In 1988, legendary filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola, the man behind The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, released a movie called Tucker, The Man and His Dream, starring Jeff Bridges. Coppola wasn't just a director making a film. He was a Tucker owner. He personally collected 2 of the original 51 cars. He believed in the legacy. The movie reintroduced Preston Tucker to a whole new generation. Suddenly, this little-known 1940s sedan was a cultural icon again. Car collectors took notice. Then came 1992. In one of the more unexpected chapters of this story, the United States Marshals Service recovered a Tucker 48, chassis number 1039, through a federal investigation. Rather than auction it off, the government did something extraordinary. They donated it to the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. On October 8, 1993, the Smithsonian formally accepted the car into its permanent transportation collection. Preston Tucker, who had passed away in 1956, was now officially honored by the most prestigious museum in the United States. 40 years after his factory closed, Preston Tucker's vision was recognized as a national treasure. And the auction prices? They've been climbing for decades. In 2012, a beautiful waltz blue example sold for $2.9 million at Barrett-Jackson. In 2018, Preston Tucker's personal car, chassis 1029, went under the hammer at R.M. Sotheby's in Arizona. In 2019, a Tucker from the Tupelo Automobile Museum sold for nearly $2 million. And in August 2025, the Petersen Automotive Museum paid $3.7 million for a fully documented authentic survivor, setting the new benchmark for any non-celebrity-owned Tucker. Today, 47 of the original 51 Tucker 48s are accounted for. Most live in major museum collections: the Smithsonian, the Petersen, the Henry Ford Museum, the Antique Automobile Club of America Museum in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which dedicated a permanent 5,200-square-foot Tucker exhibit. The remaining cars in private hands rarely change owners. When they do, the entire collector world pays attention. And the Tucker name lives on. Preston Tucker's great-grandson, Sean Tucker, is currently building a tribute to the original Tucker torpedo concept car, carrying forward a family legacy that began nearly 8 decades ago. When you look at modern cars today, the padded interiors, the safety glass, the disc brakes, the independent suspension, the focus on occupant protection, you're looking at ideas Preston Tucker put into a production car in 1948. He didn't just build 51 cars. He built a blueprint for the future of the automobile. So the next time you hear someone say a 77-year-old American sedan just sold for $3.7 million, remember, it wasn't just a car. It was the car of the future, built by a man who saw further than almost anyone in Detroit ever did. If you enjoyed this story, you'll love our deep dives on DeLorean, Bricklin, and the other bold visionaries who shaped American automotive history. Hit subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.